Hello, happy Sunday, everyone. I love the energy already in the chat. I love it. So if you have your resume in this review, please let me know you're here. Tap, I know you're here and you're going to be first up because you get priority because you are Beyond Film School alumni. That's how I like to play it. I'm so glad everyone's here. I hope everyone's having or had a good week. I don't know. The weekend's not done yet. There's still some Sunday to be had. So I hope everyone had a good start to their weekend. And thanks for joining me for the last resume review of the year. I don't know how many I did this year. I didn't do 12. I know that I didn't do 12, but I did a number of them, and I'm glad to fit one more in before the end of the year. I hope I sound okay. No one's saying they can't hear me, so I think because, those audio settings, I swear to God, they are the bane of my existence because I had to do different audio settings because last week I had PA boot camp on the stream and wildly different audio when it comes through Zoom and through OBS. It's a whole thing. I feel like I'm like getting it down and it worked out. So I'm very, very happy. So hello, Obi-Wan. Hello, Amanda, Marina, Tab, Christy's here. I'm so glad you guys are here. So listen, let's get this resume together. Marina, I'm glad you're here. You're like, I need some pointers. I am so glad that I am doing this and I'm able to help everyone do this because I feel like so many opportunities just don't come your way because of one stupid little piece of paper that your whole life has to be on. So I am really, really glad that everyone's here. And if you have any questions, I welcome them. Please, if they pertain to your resume or to your film career, I will try to get them in after or in between the resumes that I'm reviewing today. I have 5. I have Tap, Christy, Allison, Shanae, and Nicolay. So if you have questions, please put them there. Also, what I am asking everyone in the chat to do is, if we're on one resume and it is not yours, give your first impression, because here's the thing that no one really kind of takes into consideration is the fact that another human is going to be reading the resume, regardless of experience, if they work in film or if they are the hiring manager or the AD or the producer. It's a person looking at that page. So the first impression that any person gets, could be your mother, could be a friend, just doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be someone who works in film. The first impression is everything. So if I put a resume on the screen and you're like, wow, this is really overwhelming, guarantee the person you're sending it to hire you, they're gonna feel overwhelmed. So the first impression that you guys get, I definitely put it in the chat for me and for the person that is, on deck in the hot seat for the resume review, because all of those opinions matter. Because if you're getting a certain vibe off that resume, guaranteed another person is going to get that vibe off that resume as well. So everyone's opinion matters in this stream and that chat. So definitely let me know. And of course, again, if you have any questions, please put them in there. And if your resume is being reviewed, make sure you're there, because I might have some questions for you. Like, where are you trying to go? What's your goal? Because your resume direction might change depending on like what your goals are and what you're trying to do with it. Or actually, are you coming from another career? Are you just starting out? Are you trying to transition through different departments? All of it is going to be taken into consideration. Sorry, I gotta moisturize before I start this thing. Okay, so Tap, you're gonna be my first one. So, because again, Beyond Film School alumni, they get preferential treatment on my channel. Also, if you are a channel member and then you want to do the resume review, you're gonna be first up as well. So you don't have to wait around for I don't know how long this stream's gonna take. So we're gonna get into Tap. So Tap, my first thing is that this is really boring. And I know Tap personally because he took my training. I know his personality. He's very involved, and your resume does not reflect your personality, unfortunately so. And I feel like maybe you got to dig deep here with the creativity, but this is better than the one I saw when we did the resume review in the class and the critiquing that we did. So it is better. It's more organized. I do like it. It is an improvement. So I will not fault you for, your progressing, and that's what we want, right? We want you to progress, and I love that this has gotten better. But because you submitted to me, I'm gonna nitpick, and I'm gonna be like, you know what, it can be even better. Because here's the thing with resumes is you want them to grab attention. This is okay, this is organized, there's nothing wrong with this, right? There's nothing wrong with this, but to take it to the next level, I need you to be a little I don't know, embrace who you are. So the first thing I'm gonna nitpick is your name. And it's kind of in the corner, right? And here's the thing with where you put your name. The fact that we read left to right and you put it in the upper right-hand corner, they chances are that's not the first thing they're going to look at. The real estate on your resume is going to be like left aligned. That column on the left side is going to be prime real estate. All the things that are very, very important. And the fact that your name is kind of like shoved off to the corner kind of doesn't do you any favors. So I implore you to put some personality to your name, make it a little bit bigger, make it like front and center, because Tab, you like, I know you as a person. So this is the thing, is that I know your personality, and like, you're a force, you know, like you have like, you just not like you're outspoken, but you're really, really expressive. And I just don't get that from your resume. And I really want it to come through on your resume. Okay. So now I'm going to kind of skip over. Yeah. If you guys have opinions, let us know. Like, what do you guys think of this resume? It's not bad, right? It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. So just to go into your sentence. Now, I know that the objective is not really a thing anymore, but personal statements are, and just something a little bit about you. For some reason, like, the objective is something that you want, and a lot of people don't like to see that, but a small sentence about who you are and what you want there's nothing wrong with that. But you're not, like, it's not labeled in any way, and the sentence is kind of just floating there. I need some type of, is there a category header? Is it going to be a separate section? It just looks like a very lonely sentence. Okay, so now getting into the meat of what the sentence is saying. Versatile film and theater creator with a technology background looking to use creativity and skills to help turn exciting projects into reality. I actually love what you're saying, but it kind of just gets lost because it's just like this one little sentence, and that's just like right below your name, and right above it, it's just this real blank space, and it's just not... It doesn't do you any favors, but I like what you're saying. So I like what you've said there. I wouldn't change anything, but I feel like maybe I needed to be a little bit more focused on the goal that you're going for. Does that make sense? Like, your personal statement, like, you're expressing that you have many different skills. Technology background, creativity and skills to help turning, like, you are not really telling me exactly what you're looking for. What type of department are you looking to go in? Are you just trying to be a producer? Are you trying to be, I don't know, an auteur filmmaker? Like, it's not very clear. It's an okay start at a personal statement, but it's a little bit ambiguous. I like the how you structured that sentence, but it's just not giving me a very direct thing. Like, okay, what does this person want to go for? Because I know that you have, like your experience says, like, there's a lot of editing there. And you in my Facebook group, the Filmmaker Start, if you guys want to, oh God, I have to find the link to that. But if you want to be into this group, yes, it's a private group. But he posted this, what was it, like it's Rush Hour, but like as if it were like a horror, right? A horror movie or like a scary movie. And I thought that like the editing was really great. So I know that you're really into editing. So like if that is your goal, but unfortunately I know that there might be multiple things you're going for. On your resume, you need to make sure that it's tailored to one thing only. And this is the one problem I have with this resume, is that you have editor, sound, director, camera, production assistant. You have a lot of different things going on in this resume, because I know once you start dividing it up, then it's like, oh man, now this like the editor resume like might look a little bare. You know what I mean? And maybe if it's like your own personal projects, then that's going to look a little bit too light. So you're going to get to the point where you have to start dividing up your resume a little bit. So you just want to make sure that on your main resume, you want to put a very specific goal. What are you going for? And making sure when you are sending it out to people you're applying to, that it is in your statement or whatever, like, hey, this is the route that I'm trying to take. So you have the category header experience with the line underneath it. I like that, but the problem is with that is that you don't use it throughout your resume. So you have experience, you have your film and theater. Great, that's fine, that's divided up, that's okay. But then you get into skills, equipment owned. That would have been the same format as your experience with the line underneath it. I would have made it match that category header. And then also with training, and then other employment, like I wouldn't just say employment, I would say work history a little bit, or other experience. Employment is not descriptive enough. So make sure that your category headers are consistent, because experience, skills and equipment owned, and then training and employment, those would all be the same category headers. I don't know why you didn't do it, but I feel like it will help divide it up a little bit and help my eyes see certain things a little bit better. I don't mind the dates where they are because everything's nicely aligned. I like how the projects are italicized. What I would suggest is, since you have a big hole in your film experience section, like you have the title, and it's okay, you don't have quotes, as long as it's italicized, it's fine. I would probably put web series, online play, short films, like the type of project that it is. I would tab that over to make it its own column if you could. And the theater stuff, I honestly would just take out Texas State University. I don't know how anyone else feels about that. So I think that putting the school there discredits it a little bit. And I don't think you need to put where it actually took place. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but I think I just wouldn't put it. I would abbreviate it a little bit because it is kind of just long. Maybe. I don't know how anyone else feels about it, because I know that once you put that, it's going to kind of mess up maybe a little bit of your alignment. But I think there's a way to, if you wanted to keep Texas State University in there, I think there's definitely a way to align the type of project in the film section with the theater and make sure it's kind of like all on one thing. Because just to fill that big hole there. Because anytime there's like giant holes in your resume, you want to just make it look aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So I would tab all the web series, online play, short film, scene, short film, all of that over so it's its own little line. Skills and equipment owned. I don't know. I know what you're going for, right? Are you trying to rent out your equipment? Because if that is the goal, then I would put that on your resume that you own it. Otherwise, it would be used as a proficiency in that equipment, because just because you own it doesn't mean you are really good at using it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But unless you're trying to rent out equipment, I wouldn't put owned. I would just put the fact that you have, and plus you put skills and equipment in one section. So video editing, you have Adobe Premiere. So I don't think, if you put your skills section, like you can put all your software, because if you put Adobe Premiere Pro, I know that you can edit. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to put video editing and then I use this. Like, if I put Adobe Premiere on my resume, it is assumed that I know that and I know how to edit. So sound recording, cinematography, sound editing, Audacity, project management. Just because you're mixing equipment and then other skills. So those, I think I would divide them out, and I would put like equipment on this side and then like the other skills on this side, or whatever you think is more valuable to you, or more what you want them to see first, is put the more important one on the left side and then the other thing on, because yeah, I think that if you divide this skill section and do like a left and right, like little section in that, it might help fill the other hole that's on the right side of the page now. So training, bachelor's degree, theater performance. So you were in it and you were the director, is that right? Or am I tripping out? No. Or you just directed other things that you were also in? Maybe I'm not reading this right. I feel like you're an actor, Tap, right? Yeah, you're an actor as well. So like, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go to the chat just to get his to look at what he's saying here. Kind of looks like an invoice. You know what, Obi-Wan, you're not wrong. And Amanda, here's the thing about the name. There is no requirement that his name has to be centered, aligned. Because I've seen it that it's on the right side or the left side, but how he has it formatted it. And Tap, if your name is fairly short, so it doesn't do you any favors because your name is a little bit smaller than other people's. Like, mine is Amber M. Sherman, so like I can really like do a lot with that, right? So the fact that your name is so short, the fact you put it on the right side of the page, you kind of lose a little bit of the significance of it. So, but there are no rules. You don't have to have your name center aligned, Amanda. Not to poo-poo your idea. It should be big, like you're saying, nice and big, and the most prominent thing on the page. Yes, that is correct. I definitely agree with that, Amanda, but there is no rule saying that you have to center your name. You don't have to. There are so many different ways of doing it. So I don't want anyone to think that you're boxed in certain creativity. You don't have to have it centered. Yeah, so Marina is a really good suggestion. Could his personal statement be a little bit spicier? I love how the sentence is structured. It's very eloquent. It's nice. I just need a little bit more focus and just a little bit more spice, like Marina is saying. That's great. So Amanda, utilize the space you have, express yourself through it. Yes, fonts and colors, this is great. Because I feel like I said before about your personality does not match what I'm seeing on this page. So I definitely would say tap into different fonts or colors and stuff like that. So Amanda, okay, all this is making awesome sense. Good. I'm glad I'm glad, this is why we do this. It's like, we bounce ideas off, and it's like there's some brainstorming and stuff happening. You're like, oh, God, yeah. Okay, so, well, correct me if I'm wrong. If this resume has different positions, there should be more than one resume. Yes, so, Amanda, you're correct. I definitely, I think as you were typing it, I was saying it as, like, different focuses and disciplines deserve different resumes. Let's see, I agree, Amanda, it probably should be more tailored for the job being applied for. Yes, so this is something that I did, and I think a lot of people who are just coming out of college or school or whatever you're coming from, and you're just embarking in the real world of filmmaking or trying to get more gigs, is that you're stuck because you've definitely volunteered on so many different things, and you're like, oh, I did this web series as a PA, and then I did a commercial as a grip, and then I was like a lighting assistant on this thing, because you were literally taking everything you can to make sure you're on set and you learn what you can. So you're stuck in this position of like, well, I only have like 5 credits, but those 5 credits are all different types of jobs and positions. I have been there. So it's a matter of, if it's and I don't want to say a waiting game, but it's the patience of, okay, when I get more and more and more credits, then I can start dividing out. But then it does make more work for you when you don't have like one thing. Because again, when I was first starting, I had an editing resume and an editing demo reel, and then I had a camera resume, and then I had a set PA resume, because I knew that I can do all those things, but they don't want to know that you can do all the things. They want to know that you are an expert at that one thing, because obviously our brains work in one way of like, I want to put this person in this box, and if they're not in that box and I'm hiring for that box, then they are out of the job running. So I agree. Okay, Tab House makes sense. Yeah, I'm not trying to rent it out, just putting there for the fact that I can bring that skill and equipment to a project. Okay, so I think you don't need to state the fact that it's owned. You can say that you have proficiency in that camera, because when I was in camera, my camera resume had a whole section of camera and equipment that I was familiar with. What cameras did I use? What ones, what type of other equipment was I used to make sure that, the DP or the first AC that might have been hiring me when I was a second AC, the assistant camera, that they're like, oh, she knows a Sony A17 or whatever, or she's familiar with DSLR setups and stuff. So I definitely had a section of, even though I owned a Canon, Rebel back in the day, like, doesn't matter if I owned it, but I have proficiency in that camera. So just, you can put certain levels of experience with all the cameras you have experience using. So equipment on a CV, from my point of view, unless you are renting it or are going out of the camera department, no one will really care about your gear. This is true. So yeah, that just adds on to like exactly what I was saying. So you don't have to, because when you get into a conversation when maybe you are hired as a DP or, camera operator on a certain project, that comes later, where, do you need equipment or do you want me to bring mine? Because then it gets into like a contract of negotiation of your kit rental, which wouldn't be on your resume. That's a conversation for after. So we'll go to yours really quick to finish out the training. This is fine. I don't know. Like I said, training and employment, that should definitely be the same type of formatting for your category above, where you have experience with the line underneath. I would definitely use that throughout. Whatever format that you're trying to use, make sure you just stick with it and be consistent, because brains love consistency. So when your eyes see consistency, it's like very attractive to like, whoever is like looking at it, they're like, oh wow, this is really nice and organized. Okay. Gain experience in directing, film, script writing, recordings. So here's the thing about your training in your education. I kind of like that you didn't put education and you put training. That's very interesting. It's a different way of doing it, and I don't mind it. So with that, you're telling me above that you have director experience. So I don't think you need to tell me again in your education experience. The one thing you don't tell me is script writing, and there isn't really like you have some camera work, but there's not really, were you in charge of all the camera work and all the things and lighting and stuff like that? Because I think just because you're operating camera doesn't mean you're in charge of the cinematography. Does that make sense? Because cinematography is all the camera and the lighting. And I think a lot of people get that wrong. And I'm not saying that is not you, but a lot of people put cinematography and they're like, oh, well, I operated the camera and I set up composition. Well, the lighting is a part of cinematography. So as a camera operator and a cinematographer are very different things, because a cinematographer is dealing with camera and lighting, and a camera operator is just dealing with the frame. And I think some people just misunderstand that a little bit. And then production assistant work. You have the room, so I'll let that go. I'm not going to be like, don't put it, because you have the room. But if we needed to chop things up and you needed to have more lines for experience, that sentence would 100% go away. So employment, software developer, project manager. I like that you have that there because it shows me where you've come from, and it shows me like the other life that you have lived. And that might be a benefit to someone who's like, yeah, that person can handle those types of things. Because when you're a project manager, that tells me that you can handle working with people, leading a team. So it's saying things, a lot of things, without you really having to go into deep detail. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that section. I would name it something else though, for some reason. Employment, I would say other work experience, or I don't know. Employment just sounds a little bit too bare bones. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go back to the chat. There's some things happening. Okay. Whew. Merry Christmas. I got this from my nephew. I'm gonna use it for all of December. Plus, I'm just give you guys a moment to take it in. I feel like rapid fire. We're giving tap all these notes. Okay, so the capitalization and then no capitalization is kind of off-putting for titles. Yes, right. Let's see. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Because everything, and Cap, correct me if I'm wrong here. The word experience is bigger, but it looks like a different font than skills, equipment owned, training. Am I tripping out? I feel like it looks like a different font. Maybe because it's just a different size, it might be just throwing me off a little bit. But once you get that, I think that's the one thing that really bothers me. But the capitalization, where are we looking for where is it? I'm looking for that, because usually I catch those typos really, really quickly. Experience looks like a different form. Right, it looks like a different font, right? Okay, so I'm not, y'all are totally right about my inconsistent. Tab was like, yo, okay. Film and theater, let's see. Film and theater. Oh, because that's all caps. So I am okay with that, because film and theater are within its own section, and he's trying to differentiate that out from editor, whatever. I'm okay with all caps sometimes. Because his category, here's the thing, is if I were to alt caps anything, it would be my category headers. But because he's using it for a separate section within a section, I'll give it to him. It is okay, but if it is bothering your eyes, I would reconsider tab. Maybe if you wanted to maybe you underline film, or because I do like how you're bolding out your positions, which they should pop out and be bolded. That's one really good thing that you're doing here. But film being in all caps, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it stand out. This is my film experience and this is my theater experience. So I get why you're doing it. Yeah, so what bugs me is experience is not all capitalized. So that is another thing. So if he were to capitalize all the whole entire word experience, then it looks too much like film, and those two words are stacked too closely together. So I think if he capitalized all of experience, it might take away from the significance of the theater and film subsection. I think it's fine, but the other headers are weird. Probably, yeah. So we're totally tearing Tab apart with these category headers. Poor Tab. Okay, Tab, let me know if you have any questions. I think that's it. I think we gave you a lot to work on, and things that you can probably fix fairly quickly. There's nothing really wrong with it, but I definitely implore you to take dig deep, maybe do some meditation or some journaling for a couple of weeks and be like, what does my resume need to look like? Because I know you know who you are, but it's hard to reach deep and then put it on a resume. It's really, really hard. Okay, I am going to go. Christy is on deck. So, Christy, I hope you're here. This is super thorough. I love it. Took a bunch of notes. Good. And plus, the replay is going to be up if you need to look back and be like, what did she say about this thing? That's why I love doing this, because sometimes people send me their resume and I will do notes and I'll correct, like my Set PA is what I do is I take like the red pen, the digital red pen out, and I like totally just mark up their resume. I'm pretty sure that the Set PAs are like, oh my God. And when they get their resumes back, they're like, sweet Jesus, Lord. And it's very rare that I think Joe, he's not on the stream right now. He might join later, who knows. But he was the one resume where I'm like, I don't think I have any corrections really here. It's very rare that I don't have any corrections. But the digital red correction is a lot for some people. And I think that if you hear me talk about it, it's almost a little bit better for me to go through all the notes, because that's why I'm like, can you send me your resume? I'll do it on the live stream because it's just easier to digest the information. Then you can go back and you don't have to interpret my notes and stuff like that. So it depends. I guess it all depends on how people are learning. 90% was rude, but was useful. I've done the same thing. Yeah, when I did a PA boot camp, they tore mine apart. Yes, I know what Lee probably did to your resume. I've seen how she corrects resumes, and I was like, oh, wow. All right, Christy, you're on deck. So the first thing I love about Christy's resume here is the fact that she has this brown and cream color. That is very calming. Whatever it is about those two colors, like the color psychology of cream and brown is very earthy and grounded and calm. And this is really great to have on a resume. This is the first time I've seen those colors used on a resume. I've seen blue used a lot. I've pink, purple, some dark reds. I've even seen a little bit of those pale oranges and stuff. It is very rare for someone to actually utilize brown and cream. So this will stand out tremendously just based on the color that you're using. So good job on that, Christy. Now, the next thing I'm going to say about this is that there's a lot happening. There are a lot of things on this resume. It is a lot of information. She's packing it in, folks. She's like, but she's not breaking any rules. She got to one page. It looks pretty organized, right? I can go through this page and be like, okay, here are some things. But when we get down to the work experience, that's where the sentence structure, I'm like, oh, it gets a little overwhelming. So you put your LinkedIn URL on this page. I highly advise not to put links on resumes, because you can use those. You could put the links in your email signatures, in the email that you're going to attach your resume to. Don't put it on your resume. If they want to go to your website, they will go to your signature, or they'll ask you for it. So I blanked out, so you guys can't see the URL, because that's why I kind of put in the linked, you can see the word link up there. She has LinkedIn, and then she has the URL to her LinkedIn page. If you want, you guys can't see because it's blacked out, because, information and all that stuff's redacted, personal information. So if you want to put the links, don't put them on your resume unless, they have to be short links, or for example, if I were to make an overall resume for Amber Sherman, not just my DGA AD resume, the fact that I'm a business owner and I do things, maybe I'd put ambermsherman.com. Yes, that is my website. I have my IMDb page there. I have my resume there, and very simple type stuff, right? If it is your personal resume or your personal link, your personal website, I'm kind of torn, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on how you're formatting it on your resume. I am a true believer that if you put links on your resume that are your IMDb page or your LinkedIn page or whatever social media, whatever blah, blah, blah you want to use, it just makes your resume look ugly and cluttered. So I suggest not to put it. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but this is where we're at. It just makes your resume look ugly, and then if they really want to hire you, they will go in your email and they'll see your signature and oh, here's her website, or here's her LinkedIn, or blah, blah, blah. I will click it there. Don't put it on your resume. Let's see. We have, okay, so, she put a swear word in here. Now, the one thing I want everyone to realize is that when you send me your resume, I do not look at it. You send me a PDF. I make sure it's a PDF, and that's it. And then And then the morning of, or the maybe a half hour before I do this live stream, I go in, I redact all the information. That's the first time I'm looking at it. So I don't read through until I'm actually on the stream. So let's see. Let's break this down. I do love how she has creative producer and collaborator. It's very, tells me what's what. Now, her personal statement is a little lofty. It's pretty long. I would probably cut it down. Maybe I wouldn't go past 3 lines. She's got 4 there. It's a lot. So I'm fun-loving, organized, committed to producing meaningful work with over 15 years of experience in production as a producer at various levels. I excel. I think that would be a period. Yeah, that would be period. Let's keep these sentences short. I excel in managing all aspects of production, from development to distribution, in scripted and not unscripted workflows. Is that a period? Yeah, period. Looking to further my skills in film and TV by helping to anticipate and solve problems, bring all pieces of production together, and work within the budget in pursuit of making cool stuff. I like how you're like showing your personality through your statement, which I like, which is a fancy way to say that I get shit done. I already have gotten a feel for your personality, and I love that. So, but the thing is that it's just a little bit too long, and some people might not get to those cool sentences at the end. So I'm trying to figure out what you could cut out. I think, oh gosh, I mean, this is like your qualification statement. This is like your, I like that it's skills and then personality in this. So I do like it. Maybe it'll help that it's not center aligned. You are taking a risk with this center aligned stuff, because center align your name, totally understandable. When you use center aligned formatting throughout, it's a risk, but I'm okay with this because this doesn't hurt my eyes. It doesn't make me feel like, oh my God, what am I looking at? So that's good. What? Here's the thing. Which is a fancy way to say that I get shit done. Some people would find that very unprofessional. Some people would really like it. So if that is who you are, and that's who you truly are, maybe you're like me, you're a little vulgar and you swear, and you're like, you know what, if you don't want to hire me, that's your loss. That is a risk you're taking, and you're going to find the people that really want to work with you. And I think if you're not like hurting for work, keep it in. But if you're like trying to attract more people, some people are really offended by vulgar language. I wish I knew this sooner in my career. I've had so many first ADs say, Amber, don't swear. Stop swearing. Don't swear. Stop swearing, Amber. And I'm like, So I have gotten better with not swearing, but some people would be offended by that. And some people are like, yo, I like your personality. So this is definitely a judgment call, whether or not you want to keep that last sentence in. I'm fun, loving, organized, committed to. I'm just trying to figure out what you can take out, because it is long. I would definitely take out that 4th line. Not the content of that line, but it has to be shorter. Some people are not going to get through it. Okay, so professional skills, technical skills, pre-production planning. I like how you use that one symbol, that dividing symbol. I like that. I would, I'm not mad at that section, but the only thing is, because it's center aligned, it looks like a paragraph. And when you are dividing up your skills like that, you want to make sure it feels more linear and not so of a bubble of words, and you're making it look like a bubble of words, and you want to avoid those types of things. I mean, I would suggest maybe columns of things, like 3 all the way across or something like that. Because what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Was that 5 lines of 3? 5 times, it was 6 lines of 3. I don't know if you're going to get it all in. Or maybe like 4 lines of 4, if you can take some out or whatever. Yeah, I definitely would try and like column these out or something. It has to not look like a paragraph. And I like how it's divided out, but it's just making my brain think that that's a long sentence, and you don't want that, because you had a long sentence that it came before it. Technical skills. If you are a production manager or creative producer, why do you need, let's see, I understand Adobe, like, why would you need Creative Suite? And yeah, I think Creative Suite, like, I don't know if you need to show those types of technical skills because you're not being hired as the editor or something. Do you know what I mean? I think that might be a waste of space. I'm going to go to the chat really quick just to see. Ooh, let's see. My struggle and why there is so much information is because I've been in production my whole career, but never in TV and film. So I'm trying to prove my skills. Transfer, but agree it is a lot. Okay, so if you are you're trying to take on, okay, so that gives me a bit of a trajectory to like take into account for what you're trying to do. Now, but you say you have, like my face right now, I'm like really furrowed, but I'm like looking at this resume. I excel in managing Oswald's production from development to distribution and scripted. But you say you have experience in scripted and unscripted workflows. If you're trying to get out of unscripted, then I would take that out. Pre-production planning, event planning, budget, sort of pre-pro coordination. Yo, if you're a production planner and you're a scheduler, I don't think you need pre-pro coordination. We gotta take those things out a little bit. Travel coordination, podcast production, interviewing. Like you have a lot of things happening, and I think if you're trying to get into like film and TV, okay. Oh, EF tours. I used to work for EF. I did like a couple tours with EF. Recent production credits. Okay, so this is a lot, and the fact that it's all one giant section is a lot. So are you trying to be in the office or are you trying to be on set? Because you have content producer, producer EP, producer AD, script supervisor, like you have to pick a lane, and I think this is the same advice that we gave Tap, is that you have to make separate resumes. So if you're trying to be like maybe a producer's assistant or a producer on scripted TV and films, then you would keep your producer EP and maybe content producer stuff, and then you would take out the AD and script supervisor stuff. But if you're trying to be more of an AD, then you keep your AD stuff. You have to take out bits and make sure it's tailored to whatever you're trying to do. So Christy, give me like your ideal position. Like, what is the position that you're trying to go for? Like, because here's the thing is, like, your goal of working with TV and film, you're trying to get more into scripted TV and film, right? You want to do that. But what? Like, are you trying to be a producer of TV and film? Because then, if that's true, then you would start out as a producer's assistant. Or, you know, like, unfortunately, you are going to have to work your way up. Or if you're trying to work in the office, you can work your way up through, like, maybe you're going to be, like, a production coordinator for film and TV, and then work your way up that way into producing film and TV. Because unfortunately, it takes a long time, and there's a long ladder. Scripted TV, eventually producer. Okay. And here's the thing is, I think that your personal statement, while we love it, if your personal statement or your qualification statement, you need to say that you're trying to get over, like, you're transitioning into, you want to be in the more scripted TV and film world, and you want to utilize your experience from unscripted and event planning to transfer over that. Like, you can say that. You can actually, like, say that stuff. Does that make sense? Because now I have more of a direction of what you're trying to do. Like, if I were hiring a producer assistant or production coordinator or whatever, and you came from the reality world or maybe commercials or whatever it is, and then I saw on your resume, like, oh, you have a lot of this experience, I'm sorry, but if you were a production coordinator for reality or commercials, it will transfer over to TV and film if you're in that position. So, but what's like the lowest position you will settle for, Christy? Okay, so recent production credits. Okay. Travel, I hate, you know what I don't like? I'm sorry. I don't like when, like, I know that, yeah, I've had 10 credits of me being a producer, and then you have, like, producer and then the name of those credits. For some reason, my brain cannot fully comprehend when I'm given a list like that. Does that really resonate with anyone else, because I feel like the organization of this makes my brain hurt a little bit. Because here's the thing, is that you have producer EP, let's just take the first line, travelogue, glean, keen, EP, short doc, EF, educational tours. Like, so that means you're the executive producer on that, right? So you're putting in a title, producer EP, but then you're putting in another position already, or like this is actually kind of confusing me. So you need to break it down and say producer and then what the thing was. And if you want to share the company or whatever, then you share it. And I know that's going to cause more things you have to put on, but also when you start to divide up your resume into, okay, so maybe I'm trying to be a production coordinator or a producer's assistant or whatever, like making sure you're breaking it up, like you're going to take a lot of this stuff out. Yo, what happened with my life? That was weird. Let's see. So yeah, this section all in itself, like when I'm really looking at it, it's so like it's just like my brain doesn't want to read it all, because it's like for me it's overwhelming and I don't want to go line by line and read all these things. Chainsaw, Janet, commercial, pop car. So if the name of the project, we have to get into the habit of putting the name of a project in italics. I don't care if it's commercial, if it's, every project that we shoot, commercial, reality, whatever it is, it's going to have a title to it. It's just going to. So make sure the title is in italics. So, because that'll help us break down, like, okay, this is what it was called. And because sometimes what happens is that you have a project and then a company that sound very similar. So in order to differentiate like the title and the company name, that italicizing the title of the project will help my brain and everyone else's brain differentiate like what is what. Thanks, Tap. Thanks for joining us, Tap. Let's see. He knows your secrets. Prod AD. So you were a producer and the AD on that. So you're already if you're telling me line by line, like I don't need the first line then. Do you know what I mean? Like why not? Am I crazy? Christy, let me know if this makes sense. Does this make sense? Right? Because if you give me the title and then you give me like in the little brackets, you say prod or AD or whatever, then just tell me, just put that at the front of the thing, bold it, get rid of the producer AD script supervisor title, and then just stick with that. Like you don't need an extra line. Okay, so event content producer. So if you are trying to go scripted, TV and film, take out the event stuff. All that big chunk, live things, it's a different world. Anything that is like, even like if you think about broadcasting live and theater, those are all very different things. So when you are doing commercials and like the podcasts I would take out. Live events are not the same thing. Yeah, documentary is also very different. So I think your edge at the top, anything that you were a producer for a commercial for, that is your main section to appeal to the people who are in film and TV and they want to hire people who are in film, that want to work in film and TV. That should be your first section first. And then you can put your doc short and your podcast stuff and probably some of your, I don't know, what's some of your big live events here? Let's see. None of these stick out like really. I think, I don't know, none of those really stick out to me being like, oh my God, this is such a big thing. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm judging it, but I'm trying to pick out things that will be like, oh, you did this? So much on my set experience is from live events, though a lot of pre-recorded content for events. Okay, so I think that producer, AD, script supervisor section is going to be your most valuable in this, for sure. And make sure you put like, just like, let's go back to Tap's resume. I know he's not with us anymore, but what he did here is he bolded and he put the position first, right? And I need you to follow this format as well, because what's getting lost here is you have the name of the thing and then what you did on it, and you want to switch those. You want to make sure that the position is bolded, then the name, and then the type of thing it was, and then the company, if you so choose. Some people don't bother with like the full company. I usually go with how you see the project, but that's just me. Because, for example, it could be produced by such and such crazy productions or such and such film things, but then you can see it on Netflix. Everyone understands Netflix or HBO or CBS or whatever, right? They don't really have any idea like, oh, what like random production company is producing the thing. Okay, so that is going to be your biggest section. I would take out the live events, and I would just put maybe a thing at the bottom that talks about you worked in live events for this long or what you did on it. I think it can just go in your skill section as like a quick, what would you, not a crazy big explanation. Okay, let's just put that out there first. It's not going to be some overwhelming paragraph or anything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to move on. I do like how you use your recent production credits and then the 2 lines. You're sectioning off. I do like that. Okay, so freelance work, remote. Whew. Never, ever go past 3 bullet points when you're describing certain jobs. That is kind of the rule even in corporate resumes. And if you are coming from a different type of work and you need to say like, hey, I did all this stuff, and you need to understand, like you need to tell me the 3 most important things, because we all know you're doing a lot when you're doing certain jobs, when you're working outside of film or, you're doing those live events or whatever. Like we know that you're doing a ton of stuff. Like for example, if I were to say, I was a first AD, our main bullet point for that is like we handle the scheduling and we run the set. Those are the 2 top things that ADs do, but it's not the only thing. But you need to tell me like your top 3 things or less on what that job does. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 6 bullet points is crazy too much. Okay. Guide content creation from creative ideation through pre-pro to production and manage post-production workflow. I feel like you can make that more concise. Get out your filler, take out the filler words, trim the fluff. Estimate, control, and reconcile production budgets. Okay, good. Hire crews, talent, break down scripts, create shooting schedules, production departments, call sheets. Coordinate and supervise talent. You can get rid of that COVID. Get rid of it. Because you want to make sure you're also giving something for them to ask you too. Top 3 things that you did that you think are the most important within that job and that person needs to know, but also leaving something interesting so you can actually talk about it in the interview so that they can like pique it piques their interest and they'll want to actually learn more about you. And I think that's a common mistake for everyone when it comes to resumes, is they want to put absolutely everything on their resume, but then they don't leave anything of the person who's reading it. They're not wondering anything about you. They're just like, okay, well, this person did all this. And they're like, oh, I wonder what. For example, one thing I always leave on my resume, no matter what, is my education and the fact that I studied abroad in Australia. That's such a lifetime ago, my goodness. But 9 times out of 10, when they see that, they always ask me about it. Even though I did it 10, 13 years ago, whatever it was, 2007 or something like that. Like, it was a long time ago, but still, when people see it on my resume, they want to know all about my time in Australia. It's an interesting thing that people can connect to, that they'll ask you questions about. So that's just like one little oh, this is something interesting about you. So you want to make sure it's less than 6 bullet points and you put in the top 3 things. Interface with clients, set expectations. Yeah, I would probably take that out. Like if it's below 3, then it's probably not on your top, right? So if it's not the first thing that you put, then it's not that important, or not the priority, I should say. How many credits is enough to have on a resume? What do you mean? Every resume is going to be different, especially people who are coming from different careers, transferring over, coming from broadcasting to film and television or whatever, or vice versa. It all depends, because it's all about how you're structuring your information and the picture that you're painting of you as a person. So whatever you think is enough, that's going to be enough. It's not about what else do they need to know? It's about what else do you, it's about what do you want them to see about you? What do you want them to know? And again, it's about the most important information. You can't put everything, but you got to put the cool stuff. You got to put the important stuff. You got to put the stuff that is interesting if you have it. And when someone is trying to hire maybe a producer assistant or a production coordinator, if I, for example, were hiring you for a production coordinator job, which I think based on your experience, that would probably be the first thing that you might be able to get into is a POC or, production secretary in the office, at least, because you know how to organize information, you know how the phone calls work and all that stuff, and communication and, purchase orders and all this stuff. I assume you know how to do all those things. So I think making sure you do your research as far as like, okay, if I know the ladder of TV and film producer. Now, you can be an indie producer. That might be a start for you. I think that if you shoot your shot for indie film, like if you were indie film producer for a short film, a producer for a feature film that is indie as well, might be 20 days or whatever, but if you were doing that, or you're the UPM or the production manager, if you're doing that in the indie world, that will very quickly translate into the union world for UPM and producer and line producer and stuff, especially if you know how to do budgets and stuff like that. So I think figure out the ladder that you want to climb, know what all those positions are, and then what skills each position takes, and then you're going to know what to pick out. And I know that requires work, but let's be honest, if you want a really good resume and you want more opportunities to come your way, you have to do the work. And I'm not saying you're not going to. I'm just saying it's going to take a little bit of time, like maybe a couple hours each week. And like, okay, what does an office PA do? What does a production secretary do? What does a production coordinator do? The APOC, the UPM, the line producer, and then the creative producer, like knowing each step if you want to get there, knowing each step and knowing the ladder. Because I do think indie film might be something that you might be able to get into, and knowing all this, you just have to, like, if you were to apply for indie producer for a feature film, budgets, hiring crews, managing teams, all that stuff, like, that you have here on your resume is something you're going to want to jump out, okay? Okay, so staff positions, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Like, what are you saying to me? I would just take that whole section out. I know the company EF only because I worked in tourism, so I know that. But demonstrate direct and empathetic leadership, focus on managing teams, develop growth. I understand you're like, produce thousands of deliverables, including integrated marketing campaigns, docu-style, oh my word, BTS video, plan production schedule, supervised, lead live event production from live sporting events to conference. This is so much. Supervised large and small production team. Whew, it's very long-winded. We gotta shorten these things down. But what was your position there? I assume you did different positions because you worked there for 11 years. So what was the actual titles that you had, Christy? All right, so education, that's okay. I'm okay with it being center aligned. It stands out. I have no problems there. But yes, this is long-winded. Pluck out the things that you think are need to pop out. Event content producer probably would take that out. Trying to connect my past life. Okay, so yeah, the staff positions. Yeah, the past life thing is like what I said in Tap's resume, where he's telling me that he was a software developer and project manager or product manager for that however long, and then that's okay that you're using that, but there's no real title there. Do you see what I'm saying? I've had many titles because I've been in corporate for 15 years. So, but at EF Education first, what is the most prominent title you had there? I think that's probably got to be the main one, right? Not just, it's a lot going on because I feel like there's like 4 different positions in that one little section, but you got to pick one, or at least express that you went from this position to that position, because then we can get like the full range of what you've been doing. Oh my goodness, I've been doing this for an hour and I've only done 2 resumes, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, Christy, let me know if you have any questions. I feel like I gave you a lot. I hope you got something from this review. I think you did. Like, this is not bad, but I feel like it's a lot of information. We got to trim the fat. We got to make it a little bit more prominent with information that is going to pop out to people who want to hire you for scripted TV and film. Okay, so exactly, but it's such an inflated title. Exactly. Then just put producer. That sounds like a producer to me. Just say producer. Because here's the thing is, like, when I had my live stream going from people during the strike, when people in film, they were like, oh, what do I put on my resume to get like a regular job? No one in I don't know, the regular world knows what a first AD does unless they're like looking it up and they're into film. They're like, what the fuck is a first AD, first assistant director? So for me, it's like, oh, I was that would be like event coordination or event planning. It's you can use different names, just making sure that they understand what it is. So I would just put producer. Okay, Allison, I hope you're here. Allison. You're up next. Okay. Whew. I'm going to the chat really quick. Thank you so much, Christy, for being in the hot seat. It is a lot. I know it is definitely a lot. Okay, so Allison, I like this resume, even though it's shades of gray. I usually am like, don't use gray because gray is boring. But the fact that there's like 2 different shades here and there's like a gradient happening, I don't mind the color. I don't mind how her name and her information is structured. I like how she has production manager up there and there's 2 different columns. I like that. Education, I probably bumped down to the lower, definitely lower. I put the most important information first, and obviously your name, what you do, and your information. Yes, top number 1 thing you want up there. Education gets bumped down, but then skills gets bumped up. So skills, client relations, design thinking, Adobe Suite, project management, source equipment, budget tracking, travel booking, casting, call sheet. I like how concise her skills are. And not to be like, hey, Christy, take a note from a page from her book here. But the fact that she's able to tell me a lot in just a couple words and bullet points, I think is very, very useful here. And this is someone who is a production manager. So I think, Christy, this actually is going to help you a lot looking at her resume to get some advice. Because I think that, Christy, you'd be a great project manager based on your experience. You'd be a good UPM, unit production manager, or project manager, production manager, or production coordinator. So I think looking at this resume is going to actually help Christy a lot. And I love this because sometimes you can look at other people's resume like, oh, I like this idea. I want to try that. So Allison, I like that your work experience is all on this one side. I like the way your skills are designed. Now the projects, this is the one block I don't like. I don't know why I don't like it. I feel like the information gets a little jumbled, and I know that you put the titles in quotes. We did a Mint Mobile commercial. That's pretty cool. I use Mint Mobile, guys. Just saying, it's like the cheapest cell service you're ever gonna encounter. Please do it. I pay $300 a year. When people tell me what their phone bills are, crazy. I'm not paying $100 a month. No, sorry. Yeah. So Nikolai. So he's saying like, where do I even look first? My eyes. Just because my eyes are going, I start with her name and I go down and then I go over to the next. That's where my eyes naturally go. But the projects is very overwhelming. That section is very, it's a lot. I don't know how we can break this up. Because you're doing you're doing some showboating and you're name dropping here, which is fine. You've worked with like bigger celebrities, which is, when you're doing, UPM and project manager stuff, they're doing bigger things. Does show that you can handle bigger projects, because the bigger the star, the bigger the production, the more money you're going to be able to handle. So I understand why you're putting the names in there, especially when you're talking like as a production manager. There's got to be a way to sort this out to make sure it's looking more organized. I would put your live tournament and launch event, I would take those off. I don't know why I don't care about those. I don't. When it comes to if I were hiring a UPM or a production manager, if I'm looking at that, I don't really care about it. Billboard magazine cover, I would probably take that out. Netflix special, keep. Commercial, keep. The pretty reckless music video, keep. Keep the commercial. Music video, keep that. Promo shoot, probably. If it's a promo shoot, does it fall under the commercial territory? Because if you can call it a commercial, call it a commercial. Because where was it promo? Was it like because if it's promoting something, it most likely is a commercial. If it just played online, it's still a commercial. Or if this promotion played, I pay $261 equivalent for my phone bill. Sorry, I got Sorry, I got the phone bill conversation going. I'm like, wait, what? So if it's called a promo shoot, now I know like a proof of concept, that's definitely different. A promo shoot falls under commercial. So if you can call it a commercial, call it a commercial. I hope that she can. So a photo shoot, I'd probably take that out. Music video, keep that. Probably take out the documentary. Fast and Furious direct promo shoot. If we can, yeah, if it's a promo shoot, unless it's stills. Is that what you mean? Because if it's stills, if it's not video, you can't call it a commercial. Okay, fine. But if it's a promo shoot, if you're doing still photography, then I would just take it out. Okay, so music video. Idea generation interview featuring. I would take that out. I would take out the promo shoot. So if these are promo shoots as in anything still photography, I would take them out because it's not going, I don't care. If I'm hiring a production manager, I don't know if I care. When it comes to scripted TV and film. Now, the one thing I probably would suggest is the one thing we can do with this box is if we could somehow divide out, maybe you can probably Netflix special, like if it's the title on the left side and the type of shoot that it was on the right side, if we can just divide those things out, it will help me see the information a little bit better. Because what's happening here is that you have Netflix special, then the name, and then the next line is Mint Mobile commercial, then the name of Ryan Reynolds, right? So then it's like the name of the thing, the Pretty Reckless. Then you have like music, the name of the music video, and then music video. I feel like it's not really, it's just, you can use Amazon either at the end or the beginning because you're saying Mint Mobile's like coming first, pretty I just feel like the type of thing it is should go to the right a little bit. We should probably like divide those out somehow. Yeah, I think that might just be better. Because it's just, if you just space it out to then like be totally like right and left aligned with a little bit of space in the middle, it'll help divide out that information a little bit. Okay. Before we get to the work experience, I have a couple things in the chat I want to check out. I personally, okay. Yeah, Marina, you love, man, that's what I'm talking about. It's so cheap. Sorry, like for a number of years, I got by on like the $15 a month thing then I was like, oh shit, I need more data. So then I went unlimited and I pay like $30 a month, which I pay all of that yearly. I pay my phone bill once a year, guys. I'm just saying. Okay. I don't personally like the dark color separating the work experience. It like makes me want to look there, but at the same time, I'm trying to look at the other stuff. I see what you're saying. That I can see what you're saying because I found myself, I'm like, I start here, but I always jump over there. I start here, but I want to jump over to it, but I'm like not done with this column yet. So I like so I definitely agree with that. Question, what is the first thing you look at in a resume, skills or experience? So this depends on how much experience you actually have, Marina. So if you have a few credits, probably not enough credits, then I would bump skills up. I would say like I have experience from other types of industries and different types of jobs. I have the experience doing this. I just haven't done it in film yet. I would boost up my skills and then my experience. Now, if I had a ton of experience, that section gets moved up, skills go down a little bit. It all depends on what you want to make sure people see is going to be the priority. And always, anyone who is just starting out, I definitely think put more weight in your skills section because you don't have the experience yet to get you hired, right? So you're selling, you're like, I know how leadership, yes, I did this. And I am really great with people, customer service, yes. So you want to make sure that gets put up there. So it just depends on where you are. Like, for example, I have no skills on my resume because I have an AD resume, and I'm pretty sure you saw my resume, Marina, where it's literally my name, my information, all the things I worked on, DGA, first AD stuff. There's no skills on there because now I have enough experience. I don't need to sell my skills. Now, if I were trying to transfer out of being an AD into some other industry, then I'm going to be like, these are my skills and this is what I've done for, this many years or whatever, but skills definitely get bumped up. Good question. Obi-Wan, sorry, the 261. Okay, what's most impactful? What is better to highlight or for a TV and film resume? Credits with your position or work experience with more details on your skill? Oh, that's funny, Christy. You pretty much had the same question as Marina. I think I pretty much answered it So it just depends on your experience. And I think for you, Christy, since you are going to be transitioning you're trying to get out of scripted or live events and into scripted TV and film, I think that really sell your skills and the experience that you have, that one block of like, you're a producer here. And I think for you, it's definitely going to be, you're going to be plucking out the skills more so than just the experience. What was your position in what was your position in the thing to highlight? What? Nicolai, what are you saying? I don't understand. Okay, let's go back to Allison. Okay. Work experience. Empire record label. Great. Man, that date. Huh, okay. So you have a lot of different things happening here. Okay. I was saying, what was your position on the job? That's the typical thing to have. Yes. Position first. Yes. Nicolai, yes. Position first. Okay. So when you're in the experience section, for sure, you want to make sure you make that position bold and like pop out. Okay. So I feel like I'm almost sold a bill of goods here because now I'm actually reading her work experience. Her first column got me to read, and then I'm like, on to this. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Okay, so she's calling herself a production manager. Now, it is not good that you are going out of chronological order, because if you ever have a job that goes April something to present or whatever present, that is always first because that's your current position. But also if that putting present on your resume means you work somewhere and you don't need a job. So that is conflicting, right? If you currently work there, I don't know. I think you would just put like December 2023 and then update it as you keep working there, because I think that you're going to send the wrong message, like you don't need a job, right? Does anyone else feel like that makes sense as far as like your natural reaction to when you see present, like you don't need a job? Okay, so but the fact that is your most recent job, you want to make sure that is first. For some reason, some people, it does happen, and I know people are like, what? That's crazy. They've put, they're like, oh, okay, so 2018 I worked here, and then 2019, and then so like as the jobs go on, they just keep adding it to the resume at the bottom, but it's gonna go the most recent first. And I've seen people make this mistake. For most recent job first. If you are currently in that job, that is what goes first. Unless you are trying to divide up your resume in some special way where you're like, hey, I want this information to be first for some whatever reason, like, hey, this is my production manager experience. And then you can go like, then you're like, this is experience I've had and this is what I'm doing now, but it's not really something I want you to like focus on. I want you to focus on what's first. It depends. And really you have to really be smart about how you're dividing up the information on your resume if you're really trying to sell something over your current job. Okay. First of all, too many bullets. You have four or five bullets on each of these projects. So that is something, Before I had another thought, and before I get to that, I need to make sure to finish this thought. So the bullet points, no more than 3. If you can get away with it, less than that. And try and stay away from the sentences, but I know what's happening here is that since you are on half the page, it's hard not to make it look like a sentence because you're dealing with like less space and then it can't go all the way across, so it's like going to the next line. Okay. Coordinate and manage all aspects of the project, including budgeting, scheduling, and resource allocation. Simple manager. Work closely with post-production teams. Yeah. Definitely get this down to 3 bullet points. Assemble and manage a team of photographers, models. Okay, so you did hiring. As a producer, I know you hire, so you don't have to say assemble and manage a team of photographers. Because like as a producer, I know you're managing a team and I know you're hiring. So if you said you were hiring crew, you managed and hired and managed the crew, that's all you have to say. You don't have to tell me there were photographers, delegate tasks, blah, blah, blah. I know what a manager does. So as soon as you tell me I hired and managed the team, that's it. That's all you need. That's all. Just be concise. Short and sweet. Make it real small. Okay, so that should be shortened. Work closely with post-production teams. I think you should just take that out because we all know you deal from beginning to end. Producers work from pre-production to like all the way to distribution. Now, the fact that you are production manager, take out the fact that it says freelance. Please take out freelance. I feel like when people put freelance on their resume, they're like discrediting that. I don't like it. Now, technically, as a DGA assistant director, I'm freelance. Do I put freelance on my resume? No. We're all freelance, guys. Okay, so take out freelance. I don't like it. A lot of people like freelance just means you're going from gig to gig, project to project. Like, we get it. You don't have to put freelance. But if you worked for Fat King Films, put that on that line. Like, production manager, Fat King Films, and then you're like saving yourself a line too. You can do that. I would even implore you, maybe, I do like how it's dividing up the information, like you can put all of that on one line if you really need to make another section for something. You have the space and it's nicely organized, so I'm not going to bug you about it. But yeah, take out freelance. You don't need to put freelance. Developing production timelines, schedules, budgets for each project. Research, scheduling, suitable film locations, script, obtaining, yeah, there's just so much that you don't need to put there. Like, production manager, there's definitely, you don't need to put all that stuff. Keeping the client informed about the progress of the project, yeah, that's totally flow. We all, like communication, like I get it, like that's not really needed. Coordinate with art schedules. If you're telling me that you worked with schedules and stuff like that and you told people about the schedule, I feel like that's a little bit redundant since you are the person that is going to be the main person who handles the schedule and you're like the one that is going to be like communicating to everybody. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of fluff you can take out there. Now this is where it gets a little rogue, I think, because you're like production designer, freelance, prop master, freelance. I would even, what's happening here is that you have projects and then you have your work experience. But they really kind of need to be together. I don't know why you divided this up. Because projects, if you were the production manager for Mint Mobile commercial, I want to know it in that section. And I think instead of putting your responsibilities, because I know what a producer does. And if I'm hiring a producer, I know what a producer does, and I know what you did as a producer on that thing. And if I'm hiring a production manager, I know what that person. If I'm hiring a production designer, I know what a production designer does. Like, I know what these people are doing, and that's the thing is sometimes what happens in film is that you think that person doesn't know what you're doing. If a person is looking for a production designer, or if a person is looking for a production manager or a producer or something, we already know what those responsibilities are. Right? We want to know what you worked on. So here's what I'm proposing for this resume to fix it tip top. And we're going to get rid of this projects box that makes me feel very like anxious for some weird reason. We are going to take away that project box, and whatever projects that you worked on within the experience section, you are going to list them out. And you're going to put producer, producer, name of the project, company. Producer, name of the project, what type of thing it was, then the company. You're going to keep doing this over and over again because it's more powerful, and I'm telling you this right now. And I gave my resume to my Set PA class, and I always give them my indie film first AD resume. I have a section for qualifications, and then I have a section of experience. And all the way down, it's like a section. Half my resume is first AD, or I spell it out. I say first assistant director. And every line, you keep seeing first AD, like, you know, I have the experience. Our brains will process repetition more than anything else. So take away the responsibilities, and if you list out, I was a production manager on this commercial, I was a production manager on this, I was a production manager on this, and then you can actually say, yes, I was a production manager on the Mint Mobile commercial with Ryan Reynolds. Like, that tells me way much more than you telling me assembled and managed a team of photographers, models, stylists, and I don't care because I know that's what a producer does, right? So I want to know what projects you work on. You have the projects here. Implement the projects in with wherever they fall into this thing. I want to see it there instead of in a little section that I feel like it almost discredits your projects a lot when you put it in this little box, and it's like very like, I don't know. It doesn't do you any favors like putting it in a small box on the side. So get rid of the responsibilities because I know what all those positions do. I know what a prop master does. I know and this is me speaking as a first AD who works in film. I know all those positions. Now, if I was hiring someone who I want if I'm a producer and I'm hiring someone to be a production manager, I know what a producer does. I know what all these positions do as well. So this needs to be revamped very, very differently. So I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but all the projects you're not giving enough weight to. And I think that it'll do you so much more justice if you're like, I was a production manager and you have like 5 or 6 lines where you're a production manager and you say what the thing is. Way more than you telling me that you work closely with post-production teams to ensure, like, I don't care. So it's probably a little bit more harsher on this one because it's like it was frustrating for me to kind of like break this down to like, this is what I want it to look like. And I think that with a little repetition of you telling me that you're a production manager over and over and over again, you're a producer over and over and over again, it will drive it home. You will get more jobs that way because it's like popping out to their brain like, yes, this person has the experience. Okay, I'm going to go to the chat really quick. I think Allison, I don't think she's on with us, but she's going to watch the replay. I apologize. That was so rough. But this is good, but also it can be so much better. And I feel like if you're not getting jobs from this resume, now you know why. Okay, let's see. I appreciate anyone who submits their resume to this because, like, you're putting yourself out there for criticism and feedback. It's a lot. So I appreciate you're putting yourself out there to just improve and make the effort. So I love that people are submitting their resumes to do this. Okay. That took a lot for my brain to, like, break down for a hot minute. Oh, my little chat is not, like, updating. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know why. Let's see what I'm going to fix my chat really quick, guys. Oh, there it is. Okay, yay! Okay, it updated. Okay, good. Okay. What confuses me is there's a lot of projects yet minimal work experience, it seems, at least to me. Right, exactly. It's not aligning, right? And this is exactly why I was like, I have to figure out how to make this work. And I figured out, like, why I was like, why is this not adding up? And that's why, because she's like, she may have worked for a specific company and she didn't say what those projects were within that experience. It was like misaligning for a lot of it. I don't know about you, but to me, it looks like a lot of fluff under work experience. Exactly. Thank you, Amanda. We've got to trim the fat. We have to trim the fat and put the important bits there. Yeah, these projects are real cool and sounds like they could carry this resume entirely. Exactly. 100%. I would probably do the same. Take out the 4 experience sections, make the top 4 best projects as a forefront. Right. Like, you worked with some big names, and you've handled big budgets, some big projects, and as a production manager, you need to make sure that you're like, look, I worked on this, like, I don't know, whatever big budget was for Mint Mobile. It's funny because Mint Mobile, if you've seen the commercials, he's always like, we didn't do this for, like, we spent, like, no money on it, but you know damn well they spent a bunch of money just to get that green screen up and the right camera and lighting for him. Okay, so next up is going to be Shanae. I feel like I want more water, but I'm just going to drink my tea. Thank you for everyone who has given me your opinions on the resume. It really, 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 I think really makes an impact for anyone who's actually in the hot seat. All right, Shanae. Now, I don't mind the name. I want a little more personality here. And this is what my old resume used to look like. If I were to hold up my old resume and this one, they like look very similar. I like the use of bullet points, but it still looks a little messy. And that this is hey, okay, good. Shanae's on, right? Am I pronouncing your name right, Shay? Because you're saying Shay, you're in, oh good, I did say it right. Oh nice, yeah, Shanae. I get that a lot. I did a commercial Thursday and Friday, and I was saying these names, and I was like, I think this is it. And every time I got it right, and I was like, yes. Okay, so Shanae, you don't have to put that your physical address. Like, so you put that you were in Long Beach. You can take it out. You don't need it. You don't need to put your physical address. Now, this is something I want to make sure I drive home. The only people who need your physical address are the people that write the checks to you to send the checks to your home to make sure you get them. You don't need to put your physical address on your resume anymore because why? We live in the digital age, and you know what I mean? We don't need the physical address unless someone is paying you or they're sending something to your house. That's the only reason why someone needs a physical address. Never on your resume. You don't need it. Don't waste the space. Also, something that we discussed earlier is your IMDb page. Put that in the email signature of, you know, when you're going to attach this email. You don't attach this resume to that email. You don't have to put your links. Again, I don't like it. It looks ugly. You don't need to do it. If they're interested in you, they will go back to your email. They'll email you back. And then while they're doing that, they're going to click that link to your IMDb page if they want. Okay, so professional summary. Let's get into it. Now, overall, I don't mind the format, but I would encourage use of color, a different font. And everyone uses this font. What font is this, Shay? Because everyone uses this font, and I'm like so tired of seeing it. And people who are hiring, people who look over hundreds of resumes, are tired of seeing it too. So if you could use a different font, do it. All right, professional summary. I do like, okay, so you have professional summary, production experience, skills, education, references. Now your category headers, the font is like, it looks like maybe one font bigger than the rest of your text. You need to be maybe like 2 or 3. Times New Roman. Yeah, get rid of Times New Roman, do something else. Arial, Helvetica, anything else. I use, what ones do I use? Gosh, I use 2 very different ones because I have like, on mine, I have, you know, what is going to be the job, but then underneath that I have, you know, the people I work for, the firsts and the UPM that I work for. That's a different font. So do something else. I implore you to find a nice font that's not Times New Roman. Okay, yeah. So Baskerville, yeah, that's a not a bad font at all. So I definitely encourage you to use a different font, and with your category headers, make it 2 or 3 points bigger because it has to stand out a little bit more. I do like how you're using that line across because it helps organize the information a little bit better, but it's just the font is just a little bit too small, that's all. And also, you go down professional summary, production experience, skills, education, references for some reason is all caps. First of all, I'm just going to tell you right now, we're not down to that section yet, but get rid of references altogether. Here's the thing, is that when you have enough experience and you have camera PA, Set PA, digital Set PA, you have all the things, which is great, they're not going to call your references. They might. Who knows? If they know that person, they might call. But here's the thing with references, and I know that my partner will definitely argue with me to the end of days about this, is that if they know Brandon Hughes or if they know Panina Adler, right? Panina. Right, that's right. I think I have no idea. If they know those names, they're calling those people first. Because your references are people that like you, that want to be your reference, and they're going to give you a very biased opinion. So don't put the references. And if they ask for references, then give them. But on your resume, don't waste the space to put references. So just to address the references box altogether. I don't know why it's a different format because you put it in all caps and you didn't match it to all the other category headers. Make sure whatever format you pick is consistent. The style that you pick throughout your resume is consistent throughout. Remember, TAP had that problem. We're going to address it here with Shay. Okay, so professional and resourceful production assistant with a proven record of accomplishment of success in both administrative and production roles. Holy shit. Okay, that's a lot going on. Okay, highly skilled in data entry. Girl, okay. Scheduling and document management with a keen eye for detail and accuracy. I like how you say with a keen eye for detail and accuracy and you don't say detail-oriented. Good job for not saying detail-oriented because I swear to God, everyone puts that on their resume and I'm like, no, you're not. I like how you say it differently, way more eloquently. I like that. Proven ability to work effectively in teams and collaborate closely with with other production departments to ensure seamless production processes. There's a lot going on there. What do you guys think about her professional summary? I feel like there's a lot going on. There's some like eloquent things in there, but there's a lot of fluff. What are you trying to do? Because you have camera PA, you have Set PA, you have additional Set PA, you have key PA. Wait, there's a key PA in there, right? No. Set PA, sorry. Set PA and then Chi Media right underneath it makes my eyes think it's Key PA for some reason. Additional intern post PA. You have a lot of stuff. And I think your professional summary is a little too wordy and it's not telling me the direction you want to go in. You need to be a little bit more concise. I don't really care that you're highly skilled in data entry. Is that weird? I don't think that really drives it home for me, right? It's like, I'm hoping that you're past data entry because I think that is like an entry-level skill that, I mean, are you proud of it? I mean, like, if you're really proud of it and you think that is something you want to continue doing in the future, then yes, keep it. But I would suggest taking it out. But if you're saying you're highly skilled in scheduling and document management, that's a different story. I like that way better because it totally takes the wind out of my sails with you saying highly skilled in data entry because I don't even care after that. So let's lead with highly skilled in scheduling and document management with a keen eye for detail and accuracy. I like that sentence way more than data entry. I could give a fuck about data entry, okay? And anyone who works in production, like I get data entry as like an office PA or a production secretary. Is that the direction you're trying to go in? So, Shanae, what is your ideal position? Let's see. I forget to put out there. Okay, I want to look at what she said because I can't see it in my chat. Okay. Yes, I was supposed to put my work experience as an office manager. I forgot to put that on there. An office manager for what? What were you an office manager for? Is it like a company? Was it something in film? Because an office manager is the production coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so back to Shanae. All right. So there's a lot of fluff you got to cut out and make it more concise. And I want to know what direction you're trying to go in. So tell me what position you're trying to be in, Shanae. I need to know that to help you with this a little bit more. Okay. Production experience. You were a camera PA, but you list your second AD for some weird reason. Why? If you were a set PA, I would understand why you list your second AD. Was there a second? Who was your immediate boss? Because the people that you should put on your resume when you have experience are your bosses, your immediate bosses and like one or two above it. So for example, when I was a additional AD, for example, the people above me is going to be the second, the key second, and the first, right? So I always list those three people. Now, when I'm a second, three people I'm going to have are the key second, the first, and the UPM. I just keep going up 3 levels. I'm just curious why you as a camera PA, you have the second AD on there, unless that was your supervisor of some sort. But I can't imagine that being the case because your supervisor might have been the first AC, the department head, and then after that it would be maybe a camera operator and then the director of photography. Those would be like the 3 levels for someone who is a camera PA. So I just need some clarity on that to help steer you in the right direction. Okay, the one thing I do not like is this. You bold your position, which is right. First of all, you bold your position. It's top. It's on top. It's front. And it's there, right? It's good that it's bolded and it is first. So kudos for that. But what I don't like is right next to it, you bold the name of the show or the name of whatever it was, which takes away from the bold of the position. Because it's like now you have to be careful with all the things you're bolding. Because if everything's bolded, then it takes away the significance of trying to make something pop out, right? Okay, so you have a life well lived. I definitely would just leave that italicized and not bold that. And then you put that it's a short film, the dates, and then where it was shot. I think we can get rid of the dates because I think you're not doing yourself any favors. Now, anyone remember from previous live streams, probably Obi-Wan knows exactly what I'm going to say, is that because we're freelance, we don't need to put the dates on. We know that like we're hopping job to job. It might be a month, it might be 6 months, it might be a week, whatever. But you don't need, I believe you truly don't need to have it. Now, I have worked in film since 2007, right? I was doing as a first AC, a second AC. I was doing as many things as I could, like during the summer, on the weekends, while I was still in school. So while that's happening, like from 2007 to now, I never, and I mean never, put dates on my resume. And it has never, ever been a problem. The only time it's a problem is when you're trying to enter the corporate world and when you're trying to get like an office job or whatever. And they're like, why didn't you work from here to here? So here's the thing, is if you put the dates, they're like, why didn't you work from, I don't know, April to July? You're creating a question in their mind. Why didn't she work then? Right? So if you don't put the dates, no one's going to question it. They're going to be like, oh, you did this and all these things. So just think about the date argument that I'm putting in front of you. I sincerely believe that you don't need dates. I am a firm believer. I've never used dates, guys. It was my tactic to get around the fact that I wasn't always on a gig and I had other jobs. Like, for example, I was like a barista or something. I was working in broadcasting, and then I was in distribution, and then while like trying to do all this stuff, I was like taking a gig here, taking a gig there. I didn't need anyone to know that, like, oh, maybe in the month of January I didn't work. You don't need to out yourself, right? And I think a lot of times people just out themselves with so much information on their resume that's like, you don't need to give it all away, guys. So that's my little spiel on no dates. I would definitely take out the dates, and then I don't think that you need the location. Like, you don't need the zip code. I think the zip codes kind of make it cluttery. So because sometimes there are ADs out there, and there are people who look at resumes and hire people that they want to know the location you worked in, because sometimes what will happen is me working in New York versus LA versus Atlanta versus Chicago, that's 4 different styles of running a set. So if I really was a assistant director that knew how to do all those regions, I would put, like, if I was in Atlanta, if I was in this certain state, because they do things differently. Like, for example, if I worked in Toronto versus Atlanta, things are going to be very, very different. But you have only one location. So I think the fact that if you're going to put Long Beach, California, again, you put the zip code, you don't need that. But if you want to put Long Beach, California to let people know that you're in the LA area, okay, fine, leave it, but you don't need to put it in your experience because that's all where you worked. It's only really beneficial for those people who, maybe I worked in Boston, and then I worked in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then I worked in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's useful in that sense because you've covered different regions, but because you are only in California, not really significant. So you can take that information out entirely. Once you take out that extra line, it'll be a lot less cluttery, because right now it just seems a little bit disorganized. It's bothering my eyeballs. Okay, so the first thing, keep your position bolded. I love that. Unbold the production title. Take out the dates. Take out the locations. You don't need those. And when you do those small adjustments, your resume is already going to look like a 50% more organized and less cluttered. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is the production company below your position. That's not top of mind. Here's the thing. Like, I don't care about the production. Where can I see this thing? Like I said in the beginning of the stream, where such and such production pictures, or such and such fancy studios, or something films, that production company, they don't care about those things. Where do you see it? Is it Hulu? Is it Netflix? Is it Apple TV? Is it NBC? Is it HBO? Is it like, was it released through Warner Brothers? So the big names are what you're kind of like, it was on this platform. I use those as my go-to thing of, this is how big it was. Because you can't really gauge it with these really weird names for production companies. So I would definitely take the production companies out or put them at the end. Because I used to do this as someone who was just starting out. I put the production companies. But then I was catching on. I was like, oh, they can see it on CBS. Well, CBS is there's way more weight there than it just saying like random Sherman and Tierney films or something. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it holds more, it's like, I want to put it, so it's like more bells and whistles. But it is. It's like more showy and stuff. So definitely take that. And even if you're like, no, I want to keep the production company, don't put it underneath your position. That goes to the end. It's because it's not information that is so vital and valuable. So it goes to the right of the page. Okay, so, but then you have your second AD, which I'm still confused on why you're putting your second AD. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm glad I noticed this. So, did anyone notice under her first camera PA, she has the production company, And then second AD, where it's like the regular ND and then the name. Now below that, she has additional set PA, many Philip Productions, and then she has like the small ND where it's formatted. You want to make sure that type of formatted is consistent, because those are the types of things that people notice. And then you're lying, you're outing yourself, because in the beginning of your professional summary, you said you have a keen eye for detail and accuracy. Now, looking at the way you formatted your production experience, that tells me you don't, because you didn't notice that small detail in your resume, because you didn't do the same second type of formatting, because I can notice that some of these mistakes are not consistent. So they're not consistent at all. Okay, so yeah, unbold, definitely unbold the titles and put them in quotes, that it'll make them stand out. The late, so question, why? Oh, okay, so there's an extra line there because you couldn't fit in season 8, episode 84. Take that out. Who cares? Even if it was one day, I don't care. They can ask you. You did a day on that show. Take it out, because it's totally fucking up your format. Like, the fact that there's an empty space there and you're not following your format, or I would just put associate producer like over there, or like over to the left. So that, yeah, you have to fix that. Let's fix that. Like, I would just take out episode 8. Or sometimes what I will do is sometimes I have worked on projects where the project name is way too long. It is way too long, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So what I do is I just make that a couple of fonts smaller to fit it in, and then I add in, like, season 8. And you can add S8, and that's great how you format it that way, like S8, episode 84. Even if you can't fit in episode 84, that's fine. You can just put S8, like season 8. Or you might, I think that you don't even need it. I don't know what everyone else thinks by, who's watching, what everyone else thinks. I think you don't need it. That's what I think. Okay, so camera PA. Okay, so you're having all the same things here. What I implore you to do is this. Are you trying to be in camera, Shanae? Let me look back at the chat with some of the things she was saying. I was told because someone might know who they are or something like that. Someone told me to do that. Wait, quotes and tell. Wait. I was supposed to put my work experience as office manager. If I had to put it, I would like to work in the camera department or production coordinator. Wow, those are two totally different departments, Shanae. That's very interesting. Production coordinator or the camera department. So those are definitely two different resumes. And I know that, like, for example, I was in camera department. I was doing, like, camera, and then I'm, like, AD track. Two totally different types of departments, too. So I understand, like, logistics or creative and, like, nerding out on camera gear. I get it. So you need two different resumes or two very separate sections. Okay? So with additional set, yeah, I would definitely put, like, your set PA stuff. The intern for your post PA job, like, I don't know what you're going to be able to do with that. I would just take that out, because it's not giving you anything in the production coordinator realm, and it's not going to give you anything in the camera department realm either. I would take it out. It's the most unrelevant thing that's on your resume right now. So I would definitely have separate sections, camera, PA, and then set production PA. But honestly, it should be separate resumes as well. Like we talked about this before, separate resumes, because if you're trying to go for camera PA position or a loader position or whatever, I don't care that there's additional set PA on that resume. I want to see the camera stuff. I want to see what is going to make you good at, being in the camera department, and vice versa with the additional PA. If you're trying to be a production coordinator, you move up that way. Different resumes for different things. And I think that you honestly have enough to spread it out. I know you only have 2 credits as a camera PA, but even so, I think maybe if you expand on camera knowledge, the camera familiarity that you have, or any technical stuff, that can be another section you can have on a camera PA resume. Also, if you're trying to be in the production department and or camera department, tell me in your professional summary, because right now there's some great things that you said there, but I need to know that that's your goal. And like, I know people are like, oh, people don't care about your goals, but if you give me a direction of where you're trying to go, then that tells me that you have some type of plan and motivation in to like do well at the lower jobs to get to the higher jobs. Okay, so definitely divide out camera PA and set PA on separate resumes or in a separate section. Now I'm going to get down to your skills section, and good Lord Jesus, there's too many words. Okay, so knowledge of set safety protocols and ability to maintain safe working environment. That can be set safety. Set safety protocols. That's literally all you need on that section. Ability to prioritize and multitask. If anyone ever took my resume workshop, I have a whole section on things you don't want on your resume, things to avoid. And this word, multitask, is a giant buzzword I fucking hate seeing because it's not real. Your human brain can't fucking do it. People are like, I'm really great at multitasking. No, you're not. Because truly, a human being cannot do things. Your brain cannot do two things at once because why? You're already hearing and seeing and thinking all at the same time. It's already doing so many things. So when you're trying to focus on a task, you literally can't do two tasks at the same time. So you can switch back and forth, and the speed in which you can switch back and forth, that is something that your brain can do, and that is something that other people are going to be like, oh, I can do it fast, or I can do it slower, whatever. Now, the fact that you put multitasking, okay, yes, you can probably handle a lot of tasks at any given time, or you can handle high pressure situations, or you can handle a high pressure environment or certain deadlines, or so. There's got to be a better way for you to say that I can handle a lot. I can handle chaotic situations with ease. There's got to be a way for you to say and get away from multitasking. Okay, so ability to press. Sorry, I was like really on a soapbox for that multitasking bit there. Okay. Ability to prioritize, multitask, and perform quality work under pressure situations. Ability to prioritize. I like the fact that you say, if you say, okay, let me just start. I'm going to backtrack here. When you have a bulleted skills section or just a skills section, 3 words or less is your goal. So set safety protocols. That's the first one. Second one, prioritizing works well under pressure. The second one, knowledge of call sheets. Knowledge of call sheets. If you work in film, you should, everyone should have knowledge of call sheets. Okay. Ability to assist with their creation and distribution. Okay. So call creation. See what I'm saying here? You can put it into 2 or 3 words and that's it. Highly adaptable to fast changing environments. Adaptable. That's it. Or highly adaptable. If you want to put the highly in there, let's go for it. Highly adaptable. That's it. That's all you need. Competent, self-starter, and team player. Yo, I don't know. That team player is the other buzzword I fucking hate. I don't like the word team player. I don't know why. Because it makes it seem like you're not a team player. I don't know how. Does anyone else feel weird about when people say team player? There's a certain vibe when someone tells me they're a team player. I'm like, whatever it is, tell me that you're not a team player. Because I feel like the natural thing of it all, since we're all human beings and we're trying to work together, it's like we're already kind of just team playing already. So self-starter, competent self-starter, okay, fine. I get it. That's okay. Team player, I understand what you're saying. You're like, I can do things on my own and I can take initiative, but also I work well within a team. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, but I don't think you need this. Understanding set protocols. If you understand set safety protocols, I feel like you understand set protocols. So I think that might be a little fluff that you don't need. Computer proficient, okay. If you list a certain software in your skills section, you don't have to say computer proficient in. You can just say Microsoft, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook. You can just put those there. And honestly, when it comes to soft skills versus hard skills, those should be separate sections. Because leadership, communication, set safety protocol, all these things, those can be a separate thing. But then when it comes to software, then that's a different thing entirely. Like Excel and stuff like that. That can be a whole separate section or at least a different column or something. Knowledge of various social medias and understanding of analytics. Tell me why that matters for a production coordinator or a camera department person. I'm not saying that in a condescending way, but if you know something I don't, please do, because I want to know. But I think that skill is not benefiting you in any way. It's almost a wasted line. Knowledge of grip and electrical equipment. Now, that also, I have knowledge of grip and electrical equipment, but am I going to say that on my resume as an assistant director? Definitely not. Was I saying it when I was coming up as an AD? No, because it doesn't pertain to my job. So if you are a camera department person, you're not usually going to be dealing with grip and electric equipment. You are dealing with camera equipment. So it's good that you know that, but it's not going to drive home why they want to hire you. So I think that might also be a wasted line. But I appreciate that you're like, I feel like you dug deep. You were trying to find all the things to put on your resume, which is fine. But you're just a little bit too long-winded. And I think that if you make it more concise, you don't have to put in your skill section knowledge of, ability to, knowledge of, competent, understanding of, computer proficient in, knowledge of. Like those are all those words that you can just take out of there to make it look not like a sentence and way more concise and just to the point and like really drive home like those skills. Because remember, you want things to pop out. 1 or 2 words pops out. A sentence, when you have a whole bunch of sentences bulleted out, does not pop out. Okay. So your education, that's fine. Again, dates. Do you want people to know how old you are? I don't put my date on there. Ain't nobody's business how old I am. I'm just saying that is just me. But if you want to, you can keep it on there. Okay, so that was a lot for this resume. I feel like I did a lot of nitpicking, but I think after all those notes, your resume is going to look 100 times better. And certain things are going to like pop out and be like, yes, this looks really nice. I mean, I encourage you to get creative with your resume because I love how there's like different formats in here. You had like one section where it's like 3 sections and then like 1 paragraph at the top and then 2 sections here. Like it helps divide up the information, which is good. You just got to get rid of your filler words. Okay, let's see what's happening in the chat. Whew. All right. Shanae, I hope you're still here. I just want you to know that your resume was not bad. I've definitely seen way worse resumes. But why I'm here, I nitpick the shit out of it. So you can make all the changes and it can be like tip top and like great for later. Okay, so Jeremy, will the stream be recorded available for rewatching on the channel? Yes, it will be. I always have the replay up, so yes. There are all the other resume reviews I have there. They're also there for you to watch. Okay, I know this is off topic, but what do you think will happen to the industry if IATSE oh God. No, Sean. Sean, don't ask me those questions. I can't handle another strike. I can't. Please. I don't want to hear that word. I don't want to hear it. Oh, God. So here's the thing. If IATSE strikes, oh, man, I don't want to go through another strike. I guess I'm just going to have to get another job. Well, I mean, what'll happen is that, like, the writers will keep writing. They'll still, like, greenlight productions, but they will definitely strong arm the crew to get back to work. Because I feel like with the writers and the actors, yo, Nicolay, like, it's going to suck. I don't want to even talk about it. The fact that we had the most historically long strike this past year is stressful enough. And I know that it is a complete possibility that they could strike because they almost went on strike the last contract negotiations. Thank God they didn't. But I'm hoping that they don't. I just need us to, like, gain ground. I just need us to just gain ground. And it's like, I just need 1 full year of production and then go on strike next year. But it's not the year that they're going to have contract negotiations. I mean, production will stop. That's what'll happen. It'll suck. Okay, so Christy Moore, well, you've incepted YouTube because this live keeps getting interrupted with Mint Mobile commercials. I'm sorry. They definitely hear us like talking about their company. All right, no more about commercials and stuff. Okay. Obi-Wan, IATSE strike will lead to shutdown. Yes, but some productions would continue. Certain cable networks, including HBO, was shut down because HBO's IATSE shot. Showtime. Here's the thing: is it depends on the contract. Like commercials might still shoot, but it just depends. But it would be a very big shutdown. Not as much as the actors, but it would be a very, very big shutdown. Multitask, don't limited buzzwords. A lot of fluff in skills section. Mine are 3 words, 4 words max. Yes, facts. Okay. I'm coming to the end here, guys. I'm about to lose my voice. So, Nicolay, we're getting to your resume. So, I hope you're here still. He's like, BRB. It's a commercial contract. IATSE? No, I think it's like the... This isn't a IATSE strike stream, so I'm not gonna like. Although I'm like, now I need to do some research. I'm gonna do some research, guys. All right. Getting to Nicolay. Yo, how bad is the delay here? I feel like with the commercials, it just like delays me more and more and more and more. Sorry guys, with those commercials. All right, Nicolay, you are on deck. Now, I don't remember what your old resume looked like because Nicolay was on the stream before. I could not find your resume in my inbox from last time, so it might have been a while ago. I have no idea, but whew, a lot of things happening here. What is everyone's first impression? Yo, you know what, Obi-Wan, since I think Nicolay is not here yet, since the actors are back and they're not on their strike anymore and they reached an agreement with the contract, I haven't looked at Deadline or Hollywood Reporter in like forever. I just have like, whew, it's over, great, not doing any of those. I was doing a lot of updates as far as like everything that was happening, the play-by-play with the negotiations and what was happening, but now I'm like, I don't want to look at any of those articles, and I just haven't, and I think maybe I just got article fatigue, I don't know. Okay, so getting to Nicolay. Now, I want to look at something. I want to make sure. I'm looking at your resume to make sure. Okay, so there wasn't no address or anything. Okay. I don't like this resume. It is an improvement, probably from the last time you did this, I imagine. I wish I could look at the old one and compare. This is better, because if I'm remembering correctly, there was a lot on your resume last time. Now, you add in color with the production company and the title of the thing. This just the way it's put together and the way it's formatted, it makes my brain go crazy. You're not telling me anything about you. You have space to do that, and you're not utilizing your space efficiently, and that bothers me. You're not consistent in your formatting. Okay, so I like how you have key production assistant. Oh, it's a feature film. See, I completely lost it because I went right to the red, and I was like, what am I looking at, right? Okay, so you just have an experience section, and it's like you almost don't even need the category header because you have no other categories, buddy. Like, you just have your experience, and that's it. You have no skills. You have no personal summary or statement. You don't have any of that. So I implore you to add something here. Also, what I don't like is this huge box on the right side. I hate the giant box. It's just like, you need to fill this. You didn't make it a nice, easy, aesthetically pleasing resume. Now, God, Nicolay, I want you to send me your old resume. I need the comparisons. I don't have it anymore. I might have deleted it because I did it already. I'm not sure. But I want the type of project that it is, where it says feature film and short film, that shouldn't be bolded because it takes away from the fact that your key production assistant is bolded. Okay? Yeah, Amanda, the red to me looks like a violet for the title of the production, italicized and in quotes. Yeah, have to run. Thank you, Amber, for your time and expertise, and thanks all others for your perspective as well. Thank you so much, Christy, for submitting your resume and being in the hot seat and taking all my feedback. You are a trooper. Thank you. I go feature film, short film, commercial as separate sections as headers get rid of the experience. Yeah, right. So I feel like there's got to be a way to divide this up into, feature film, that's a whole different beast. And then shorts and commercials, that could be a whole other section. I think that's okay. We have to organize this in some type of thing. You have to give our brain a chance to decipher things and information. So now you use red. Now, color is established with your name. If you want to use color in your resume, it usually starts with your name and how your name is formatted. So if you wanted to really use that like violet reddish color, I would definitely put that violet reddish color in your name. Or maybe it's shadowed, or maybe that is that color. But your name could afford to be a little bit bigger. Just a little bit bigger. I do like the font that you're using, because I think I use this font. What font is this, Nicolay? I'm not sure. But key production assistant, feature, like the ugly duckling pictures jump scare, like the dashes really throw me off. You don't need that dash before ugly or envy or till death or Paul's, like and you don't even use a dash for brownie paper towels, but you forgot it there. So this one time, those small details are gonna drive a person crazy. Now, if you guys remember a story from like my intern days when I was first starting out and trying to work in LA, someone tore me apart for a space before a comma, which was like kind of like, my fault, but it was in like my email or something. Like I put a comma, it was like after my email and then my phone number, and then I put a space before the comma, and the guy like tore me apart, and he was like, "You're never gonna make it." I would never hire someone who made this mistake, and I was like, holy shit. So just keep in mind those small details, because if I'm looking for someone who needs to be, into the details of it and the micro of it, then if you're getting those things wrong, I know you will get other things wrong and you will not notice certain things. So take that dash out of there before Ugly Duckling Pictures and all the other ones with that violet reddish color. Yes, it is your resume. You missed a lot. Oh my God. Okay. So, and you can definitely read the comment sections, because they are in line with what I'm saying on here too. Okay. Oh boy. So I don't need the description of what you did. And there's a lot of different font sizes here. I usually stick to just 2 font sizes outside of your information and your name, because your name and your information is going to be a little bigger than everything. Like there's 1 font size for the category headers, right? And then that's kind of like on its own 1 size. And then when you get into the meat of your stuff, it's like 1 size for bolding it, like for the position that you held. And then like 1 size, if you're getting a little bit smaller, then okay, then it's like 1 or 2 points smaller, and that's it. There's no other, like, I feel like you have 3 different sizes here, because you get like big, a little bit smaller, and then really small. So key production assistant. If I'm hiring a production assistant, I know what a key PA does. You don't have to tell me in setup, breakdown, fabrications, different things. You don't need lockups, gathers, no. So signed out BG. Yeah, you're a key PA, you signed out BG, and you handled the exhibit G. Jesus Christ. Managed multiple PAs, just real walking size. It sounds to me that you are the everything PA. So you don't even have to put all that stuff. Give that information for when you are actually in an interview. You don't need to put that. Like all of these bullet points that you have under set production assistant, I don't need to see those because I know what they are. Unless, for example, okay, you have set production assistant in setup, breakdown, fabric. What's the difference? Set up lockups when rolling, echo callouts. Okay. Stood on lockups. I was like, what do you mean? Okay. I thought you set them up. I was like, oh, that's a key PA. So set production assistant, I would take all those 3 out because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Take those out. Next one, I'm going to get to this first AD business and line producer business. Okay. Set production assistant. So the name of the thing is called Ugly Duckling Pictures, and what is the name? See, I'm having trouble figuring out what is the name of the thing. So the name of the thing, again, needs to be italicized in quotes, so it's very clear that is the name, because then it's like versus the production company. And it seems like Ugly Duckling Pictures, yes, that is the company, and then Jump Scare, I assume, is the name of the feature film. Now, you go down till Death Do You, what's the production company? It's like missing, right? So you're not following the same format, and it's infuriating to me. And I'm like, it's not consistent. It's like really trying me right now, okay? So you want to make sure projects italicized in quotes, and the production company can go like, it doesn't, I would say the more important bit is what the name of the picture is, not the production company. As far as I'm concerned, where you see it or what production company produced it, I don't care. I don't care about the company you work for. I care about what you did and what the project was. The company you work for, I don't really care. Okay? So then we're going to take out all those things. I'm going down now till Death Do You. You keep saying fabrications for different scenes. If I see that over and over again, oh my goodness, it doesn't need to go on there. You don't need it. Like, you're telling me the exact same thing for everyone. Like, literally, I know what a set PA does. So you don't want to treat the person hiring you as if they're stupid, like we don't know what set PAs do. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but you're just laying out your responsibility. So, but on the flip side, it's like, just know that we know what a set PA does and we know what a key PA does, right? So all these bullet points are not even needed. Okay, so assisted, yeah, you're telling me the same thing over and over again. Set up equipment based on daily shoots, needs for interior, exterior, assisted production team, and finding optimal locations. Assisted production team and finding optimal locations. Set PAs don't really do that, so I think maybe, were you a locations PA? Were you helping with that? Because if you're helping with that, like, you may even be able to, I don't know. I think in commercials, it's wild. I know that in commercial and reality world, PAs are doing a lot of different things more than just, the average thing that someone's doing on a feature film. Okay, so then you're a second AD on a short film, and then you have another set production assistant thing, and then there's like nothing listed. Your format needs to be consistent. I just can't stress that enough. Okay, now I'm going to get to, you list there's like a random type, like a random little thing in the middle of the page, right next to set production assistant short film crash cam, that like one little symbol, that doesn't need to be there. So these are the things I'm talking about. Like, I'm going to notice all the things that shouldn't be there. And I'm like, did you notice that? Did you look at this before you sent it to somebody? That's the type of thing that people are going to think. Okay. So the first AD, Genevieve, line producer. So if you're a key production assistant, was there only one AD on this, Nicolay? Was there only one? Because usually when you're a key, you list your second, and your second AD, and then the first. Now, if you're listing that it's a first, on a feature film, most likely there was a second AD. You have to list what's above you, immediately above you, and then two above that, right? And you have two names there, which is fine, because I like what you did. It's like you have your key set PA, the first AD on the next one, and then you have your first and second, and then the UPD, unit production direct. What is the UPD? Am I tripping out? Is this a typo? I'm sorry, is that a typo? So only a first AD. Okay, so if there was only a first AD, then you need to just put AD, assistant director, because unfortunately, like, that makes sense now. Okay, UPM. So there's a typo. So there's a multiple number of typos here, and let's see. You don't even list anybody for this set production assistant commercial. You don't list anyone under that. Like, whatever format you have to be consistent. This is your big problem here. You have to be consistent. But also, there's no skill section. There's no personal statement when you obviously do have the room for it. If you got rid of all those weird bullet points, all those things get down to a really smaller section. Then you can have like a nice info section. If you're going for this dual column thing, you can have like one column be, I don't have any name for that one. That was years ago. Well, you better make something up. There's got to be a call sheet or something that you could reference. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, like that, it's like if you're going to stick with that, there's just got to be a way to make it formatted like very, very nicely. Because right now my eyes are like burning because of this resume. Okay, there's got to be a call sheet. Like, don't be lazy when it comes to your resume. You know what I mean? Like, you've gotten some type of information somewhere. Like, you worked for someone. There's got to be someone that you remember that on that shoot. Okay, so once you take out all those bullet points where you're like continuously telling me the same thing over and over again, I don't care about that stuff because I know what a key PA does. I know what a set production assistant does. I know what they do. So take those out. Then you'll have more room for a nice contact box and then a personal statement and some soft skills in there. So in your soft skills or your skills section, you can put that you managed the Exhibit G and that you signed out background and that you helped scout out locations. You can put those things in there as an additional type thing to add to your experience, as like a little add-on. So and it's kind of confusing because you have key production assistant and then the section next to it is like second AD. I assume you're trying to be an assistant director. Is this the goal? Because, if that's the goal, then I get it. But also, I think you would put that at the top. Even if it was maybe like a while ago, I would put the second AD thing at the top. Because it's like, essentially what you would do is like you want assistant director experience and then you have like underneath that you would have all your production assistant experience. That's how I would do it, and that's how I did do it too, because I had like I worked in union and non-union. As in the union world, I was a key PA or a first team runner or background runner or something. In the AD world, I was always a first AD. So I always put my first AD stuff, at the top, depending, and obviously I changed my resume depending on what I was applying for too. Because when you think about it, when you're applying to PA jobs in the union world, they don't care if you're an AD in the indie film world. Like, they don't want to see it. They don't care. So it just depends. Let's see. That was actually just recently. The key PA was two months ago. Second AD was the other day. Well, that's great. Yeah, then that should definitely go first. Like, remember, the most information should go left column at the top. So so if it's more recent, then definitely that would be, because it makes sense, because if that goes above the key PA position, then yeah, go in that chronological order. Shouldn't it be uniform like second AD, then key PA, set PA? I could be wrong. So he's consistent with he's like spelling it out, Amanda. I think that's what you mean, right? Set PA 5 times. Amanda, I think what you're trying to say is, let me look at her chat really quick. Shouldn't it be uniform like second AD, then key PA, set PA? I could be wrong. So, okay, so here's the thing, is you can choose whatever format you want as long as you stick with it. Okay? So he spells out key production assistant, set production assistant, set production assistant, second assistant director. He's spelling it out, so he is actually following his own format. So there's no problem with that. Now, because he's listing out, and I see what you're saying, it's different than when he's listing his first AD, his second AD, the people he worked for, right? That's okay, because it's a different line of information. And as long as those stay consistent, it's fine, right? Because it's like in that line, it's first AD, and then we have first AD, second AD, and then we have key PA. Then it's shortened. It makes sense because it's a smaller line. So for me, that's fine, Amanda. But like I definitely appreciate you like pointing it out. Like, wouldn't you want to shorten it? Sometimes I've shortened it. Sometimes I have spelled it out. If I have the room, I will spell it out and I will be all fancy with it. But if I don't have the room, I will shorten it. For example, in my resume, I always spell out like second assistant, or I do like on my positions I've held. Gosh, do I do that now? God, I have to look at my resume now. But I think there were times where I would put first assistant director, and then the people I worked for, I would shorten it and abbreviate in like the people I've worked for. So definitely I would add some spice to your name. And if you're going to use that color, and Nicolay, I think you were here for that portion, but you use color. And I'm not mad at you using color. I'm okay with this violet-ish color, reddish thing. Remember, you want to stay away from that cautious type red color, like the really bright red, like this type of red you want to stay away from, okay? But if you're using a deeper maroon violet color, that's fine. But you want to make sure you establish that color use in your name or in your contact information box somewhere on your resume, somewhere. You want to establish that color. I'm like slouching in my chair because I'm getting lazy. I'm sorry, guys. So you want to establish a color with your name, get a little spicy. I love that font. I use that exact font on my resume, actually. I forget what do you know the name of that font? I forget what it is, but I love it. And make sure you're staying consistent. Take out those bullet points. Add a summary in there that you have AD goals or whatever. Like, you're trying to make sure. Are you DGA bound? I assume you're DGA bound, because if you want to be an AD, you should be DGA bound. I'm just saying. Okay, I think that is it. This is all Calabri font? Yeah, probably. I think you're right, Amanda. I think you're actually right about that. Yo, my camera has never gone out of focus, and it's been doing it today, and I'm like, what is happening? Oh my goodness. Okay. Trying to get into the DJ and need to figure out exactly what I need. Okay. I will tell you what you need, Nicolay. You need every call sheet that you've ever had on any project. You need the payments, pay stubs and or checks. If it is a indie thing, you need to make sure that you have pay stubs or proof of payment of some type. Keep everything. If they write you a personal check, if they give you any type of any check, keep. Even if it's a personal one or a payroll one, keep all that. Anything you get from any production, keep all the things. Keep contracts, keep deal memos, keep all the things. So call sheets, PRs, if you can get your hands on them. And after every job, ask for the approved PR, because it will help you, okay? PR, call sheet, PR, some type of proof of payment. So unfortunately for DGA, you are like, if you worked for free, it's oh well kind of thing, unfortunately. Okay. Once I adjust everything, would you mind? Of course. I will definitely look at your resume. Yes, so definitely email me if you want to look at it again. But maybe like we'll put it into the January one. I don't know. Maybe, am I doing a January resume review? I have not planned out January yet. I was really good at the beginning of December and I planned out all my live streams. I felt really good about it, guys. I feel very proud of myself. I did 4 live streams this month before Christmas. I was very, very proud of myself. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I've been doing this for 2 hours. I love doing this stuff because I know that it really helps. And I know for a fact you will get more interviews and more jobs from the improvements that you will make on your resume. My last gig didn't have a call sheet, so our deal memo was okay. So here's the thing, Amanda, because wasn't your last gig the VMAs, right? Those don't count toward DGA. So when you are getting close to having more and more days, you got to call the DGA office. It's like a 917 number. It's like public. I can give you the link, Amanda, if you want to look at everything that's required to get on to get into DGA. I can give you that link. Actually, I can probably find it now for you. Actually, let's see. I will find it for you guys. Like, I know you have a while, but to know what you need is actually kind of useful. But live events, I do not believe count. It has to be single camera type things. And I know that single camera versus multicam is very confusing because we use multiple cameras on single camera type things. But either way, it's not like a studio broadcast thing. If it's broadcast, it does not count. There's so many things that do not count. Okay. I want to find that link for y'all. Nicolay, are you on the East Coast or are you on the West Coast? I don't recall if you're on what coast, because that's going to matter, because DJ East and DJ West are 2 different entities. You join one or the other. And I'm in DJ East because we're in New York. Okay, DGA. Amanda, you probably have this website already, but I'm going to post it in the chat for you anyways. But this is all the information you would need as a PA joining. And actually they have Southern California and the 3rd area lists as well. So as a PA, you're going to qualify on the commercial qualifications list. Now what you need to know is that DGA, the first thing is, it's very confusing because when I joined, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is all this stuff? So like you join on the commercial list because you have all your PA days. You have to have 600 days, but they make you submit 620 in case some things don't count. So you make the cut, right? Because some things, who knows why they don't count it. A lot of different things, they don't count it. Nicolay, thank you for being in the hot seat. I definitely tore you apart, but I know it'll help. Definitely send me your resume again when you've made those changes, and I will definitely get them in. The first thing you need for DJ is money. Not exactly, but yes. So there's a QL. So you have to get on the QL, meaning you've qualified to be on that list, to be an AD on certain things. You have to qualify first. Qualifications list is a separate entity than actually your application to the Directors Guild of America. Okay, there's 2 separate things. So like what you do to put your book together, which actually I can probably show you my book now. This is a big giant book. I have 3 of these. See, like, and you put all your things, every call sheet, all the pay stubs. I have 3 of these books. Okay, so and you're gonna need. I suggest this lovely little thing because it's like a legal sized one for your legal sized documents. You don't have to, but I went like, the fact that your papers would be hanging out of the binder drove me literally insane. So I got a legal sized binder for all those. But the book that you put together is for the qualifications list. Once you're on the qualifications list, then you're eligible to work on set as an AD on certain things, right? So then when that happens, when you do your first day, when you do your first contract, the DGA contracts person is going to call you and say, hey, they're going to be like, hey, you have to join the DGA. Here's all the information. And then you have to fill out your application. And it involves like having people who are in the DGA sign for you, vouch for you, and then you apply. And also what's involved is your initiation fee. My initiation fee was $7,400. At the time, they're like, we want 50% down and we can put you on a payment plan. And I was like, this is a lot of money. Because when you're a PA, you're making peanuts, guys. You're not making a lot of money. But they give you a payment plan, but you have to pay it off within the year. Because after a year goes by, they're like, finish your payment plan, because if not, we're going to kick you out. So $7,400. I put $2,000 down because thankfully I did a commercial that I was on for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, good. I have some extra money because I was I was first AD on this Beachbody project for like 3 weeks right before things got shut down before Christmas 2 years ago, something like that. And it gave me the money to help my down payment on what I needed for my DJ application. And then you can do a payment plan. I think it was like $300 a month or something like that. But I paid what I could, and then they were like, yo, you gotta pay shit off after a year. So I don't know if that helps Amanda know the process. I can explain it again. It is very, very confusing. But either way, it's a lot. It's very confusing. And I keep meaning to make this video, but I just know it's going to be a long-winded video. It's going to be like a 25-minute video that a lot of people might not watch because it's very niche, okay? But I definitely check out that link, Amanda. If you didn't have it, then I'm glad I helped. But if you have had it, I'm sorry. It's the same information you probably looked at a dozen times. Whew, okay, 3:15, 2 hours and 15 minutes, guys. I've been on this stream for a very, very long time. I am so happy that you were here. Now, I have a couple things going on. Set PA class is sold out. Awesome. That is so awesome. I think I probably told you that in the stream. But I do have a free training happening, a virtual free training happening on Tuesday, 1 o'clock, I believe. I do everything at 1 o'clock. I don't know why. It just seems the right time to do it. I will leave that link for you in the chat if you want to sign up for it. You still have a couple days to sign up for it. Thank you so much, Marina, for you stuck out this whole time. Oh my goodness, everyone who stuck out this whole time with me, you're amazing. Like, I'm so happy that you guys are, let's see, details. I'm going to find this link if you guys want to join this free training. Now, I'm talking about a bunch of stuff that I've never really discussed either on my streams or in my classes. So it's a lot of new information. It is involving the difficulties and challenges, and I called it breaking through film barriers, because I just discussed like the main challenges, the top challenges of people who are trying to get into film or who are trying to advance in film. I talk about misconceptions, common mistakes people make when they are trying to get into the industry and stay there. And then also I have some actionable steps. So it's information coming at you, but it's like, here are some things that you can do to get better at X, Y, and Z. And I think I have like 3 different things that you can do. And I really think that even if you do those things I tell you to do in this free training, like that is going to change the trajectory of your career, like 100%. Like I fully believe in this stuff because it took me so long to realize these things because I was a digital PA forever, okay? And then finally when I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong, it finally all clicked, and that's when things started to move faster for me. So I'm just giving it to you guys as a free training on Tuesday. Definitely sign up Tuesday at 1. And I have a lot of people signed up, so I hope everyone makes it. Really, I think it's going to be really, really valuable. I know Amanda's already signed up. I think Sean, he was here, he signed up. There's a bunch of people who watch my streams, and they're going to be on this training. So I'm really, really excited because actually they can like ask me questions, because with the live streams, you guys can get to me in the chat, but in a Zoom meeting, I can actually talk to you, which is kind of great. So thank you so much, guys, for being here with me. That is the last stream of the year because Christmas is coming up. I hope everyone has a really, really great holiday, or New Year's and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, all the things. And I really am hoping and wishing everyone a wonderful new year, a great start to the year. So thank you, everyone. I shall see you next time.